Well, it's starting. The looting is happening slowly but surely across almost every state, but just a few places we're going to take a look. And also, now they're saying that the distribution of only a portion or a percentage of the total monthly total is going to take 7 to 14 days to rework the math before anybody can get there. EBT benefits, it's going to spiral. So let's look at it. And we've seen the notice to all SNAP cardholders as of Saturday, which was a couple of days ago, that the EBT program shut down. They will not receive any benefits from SNAP. People are patiently waiting, and they heard that there was a judge that said, hey, you have to do the money. And then, well, that's why it didn't flare off, because they're just trickling people along. This is a mind game the whole way. This is an exercise of you for restraint. Pending SNAP benefit deposits $37.75 available for some people on November 3rd. Not the $4,000, not the $2,000, not the $1,000, $37.75. Perhaps only for a very select few. And I'm glad that Trump is prioritizing some of our veterans to get these benefits versus others. That's a great thing. Your November SNAP deposit will arrive, but it may be delayed. Shall I bring my note? I do a lot of research for these videos because I believe wholeheartedly that this is the next beginning phase of the reset. COVID was phase one. We're in the beginning of phase two, and they need this to trip it off, to make it the cogs start spinning again for a lot of change that we're going to see. High crime areas currently boarding up all the stores. Anti-looting devices have been put into Dollar Tree. We'll cover that. Now, there's no more reserve funding if this gets paid for this month. So rewind that for a second here. A percentage of the $8.5 billion, according to just the average monthly distribution. It's at $8.5 billion. Now, if they're going to pull that back somehow and use part of that $5 billion, that's supposed to be for emergencies for our country, such as massive hurricanes slashing and smashing into places, wildfires, earthquakes, these types of emergencies. They want to skim that fund to give out to EBT. Or it's actually SNAP that then funds the EBT. The electronic deposit. So for them to do that and rework the math, the percentages need to be recalculated, which is going to delay it by 7 to 14 days. SNAP has not gone out except for a select few. It will not go out for even more, because the judge that had said this weekend, by Monday, you need to figure out what's going on and then respond and then instantly release the funds. It's not like that, because the administration is going to come back on Monday and say, well, where is your precedent for this case law, or what you're spouting up there that we have to turn it back on? We don't. There's no laws for this on the books. We have the emergency fund through the USDA, that's the U.S. Department of Agriculture, but it's for emergencies, as in, if we strip the fund out and we go with what people want to do, December, there will be no money for emergency funding. So that's the first thing to think about. If this does drag on until December, the emergency funding pulled out at the $5 billion, it's actually going to be a little bit less than that. It's only going to give a percentage to the people on the programs anyway. But once they take all of that out to zero, then there will be nothing left for a true emergency, not only on the emergency side of natural disaster side, but there will be nothing left for this SNAP EBT program. And then what? And then you're going to finger point again, and we need to take money from where this time to get this program funded? Wall Street, Washington, the Fed, they don't care about your future. They care about control. And as they push their agenda forward, they'll take everything from you that they can. Your retirement, your portfolio, your assets, all of it. The only way to protect yourself is to stop playing their rigged game and untether your wealth from the system they control before it's too late. The simplest way, move your money into a universal asset they can't print, freeze, or devalue. That asset is gold. With Noble Gold Investments, you can roll over your retirement into real physical gold and silver, wealth that's beyond their reach and in your hands. Go to 2030 Gold right now to get your free wealth protection kit. That's 2030gold.com. Noble Gold, helping you break free and take back control. An US-based service team that's handled over $2.5 billion in precious metals transactions. And for a limited time only, a bonus for new qualified accounts, a 10-ounce silver American flag bar and a 1-ounce silver American Eagle proof coin. That's 2030gold.com. Noble Gold, helping you build a stronger future. We're at that point right now. They are in a conundrum. And if you don't know that word, super big problem, unsolvable. Either way you solve it, it causes a bigger problem on either way to solve it. Conditionally, as we sit as of today, and when we roll into Monday on the 3rd, it's going to get, well, you're only going to hear about this in the news feeds. That's all you'll hear. So let's continue on to, so government subsidized food sales assures 250,000 EBT businesses stay operational. What they mean is there's so much buying into these businesses that are EBT supported that it runs and supports 250,000 businesses. That's hard to believe for me. Maybe I could be mistaken. Most of the mom and pops were all wiped out during COVID, so I don't know 250,000 bigs that are on the stock market that are still running at this kind of level that supports them. Again, do your own due diligence when you're looking at these things. And this is the gaslight of the century here. Food stamps, aka SNAP, pay is $6 a day. You're feeding a child in Africa for Sally Struthers for $1 a month or something, right? They're trying to put it in that context. 22 million households. By the way, I have a calculator. It's 3.9 billion. $6 a day, average 30 days, 6 times 3, 18, $180 times 22 million is just a little more than 3.9 billion. Not even 4 billion. And the total allotment per month supposedly is, well, it varies slightly, 8.5 billion per month on this program. So where's the other 4.5 billion going? That's a lot of money. Where's it going? $6 a day. That's unbelievable. Really, you can't even survive. That's unsurvivable money. And it's a travesty that the people who really need it aren't getting it. And those who are taking advantage of the system are getting gargantuan amounts. So 25 states sue Trump administration over food stamp freeze during shutdown. Okay, they've had a couple Obama era appointed judges saying, you got to turn it on. You got to turn it on. But again, there's no case precedent for this because it's never happened before. So administration now is looking and going, whoa, you can show us the case law in the books where it's happened before in these court orders if it ordered it to dive into these emergency funds because it's never happened. So they're going to come back on Monday and be like, well, we don't really have any scratch. Oh, wait a minute. And then it's going to be Tuesday and then it's going to be Wednesday and then bounce it back. They're going to play tennis and then it'll be Thursday and then it'll be Friday. And before next weekend, it's going to be interesting. So they're looking at 40 million people affected. Walmart set to lose billions from SNAP benefits stopping in November. That's true because Walmart is the largest beneficiary of SNAP and EBT shoppers, right? So they call it the Great Food Stamp Grift, how Walmart in Washington turned poverty into profit. Now, I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to offend so many people. So welcome to the offend session here. Our prison industrial complex makes money by putting people behind bars. But y'all sitting in over there, whatever third world nation coming in on the previous administration, that gives finally a bookable value. They were sitting over there not worth any money, basically. You pull them into the United States, you get them on these programs, you cut off the programs, you know they're going to commit crimes. To commit crimes, you put them in the prison industrial complex, which then funnels money back. Like you took a non-performing asset and turned it into a performing asset. I know that's going to offend a lot of people, but oh well, that's the way it really works. So think about the importation of all these people that were, had no means to come here and work. And you knew they were going to be on these programs from minute one. Like how many tens of millions, or let's even say multiple millions. US already has the highest prison population on the planet. So now you took all these people that had no way to work for themselves, or even one who could get into and adjust into the society. Impossible. So you took it all, you brought them in. Now you got how many umpteen millions, it's unknown. But the crime rate's going to increase tremendously. And what is that? That's a boon for our other industries here on the prison industrial complex. Like that, you look at it as and just no, not on a personal thing, but take it into the business and the corporate side of things. I mean, they brought in money by importing these people, knowing then they would be a prison product. Think about that. The chess move on that one. Sheesh. I know it's going to offend, but that's the way it is. Oh, by the way, friendly reminder, when you see a locked up baby food, the company would rather starve children than lose a small amount of money to theft. Bro, if those weren't locked up, that would be an empty shelf. And you know how expensive that stuff is in anyway. So this is just a lunacy statement from some like half sub 50 IQ. Yo, sub 50, what up, thinker? Because when you look at this friendly reminder, okay, so corporations and individuals are just supposed to accept theft, and that's just part of it because what? That's a complete disconnect. See what I mean? Like this prison industrial complex is going to ramp up any of those things that are do with prison stocks to the moon after this event is over here. Dollar Tree over the weekend, what are they doing? They're installing anti flash mob theft type of things in the stores. You can reach your arm through that and grab one at a time, but you just can't go in and strip everything off and dump it in a bag and run out. So it's starting to happen everywhere. And I found this really super interesting image here. Are we just in like Groundhog Day for like the way our society is moving here? Billions for space, pennies for hunger. Are we not seeing the exact same replay? We're being gamed everywhere on the whole way that our society is structured. This was really just an incredible wake up moment for me here. They're using the same playbook again and again and again. It is shocking to see this. Well, shocking is a lot of people are angry that you can use Snap EBT eligible to get your, what is that, lobster tail from Walmart? No, sorry, Whole Foods. Whole Foods? Isn't that an Amazon subsidiary? I guess it is. Who's benefiting from EBT? Walmart, Amazon / Whole Foods. You can actually buy lobster on this. I want you eating that cheese and the dried milk that comes out. Remember those boxes where it was like government cheese? You walk in the storehouses, the warehouses full of government cheese. Not lobster. The hell, I want lobster. I want flan. I can't buy flan. I can't buy lobster. Not on a YouTube wage. Come on, you guys. Sheesh. I want flan. The thefts, there's major security is being hired across all stores everywhere. And this is what I wanted to point out too, is say there's a couple cool sites out or channels out there on X. So EBT at TikTok. This has just started like a few days ago. So the videos there are, you're going to have to take this thing seriously. Woman shows off EBT recipients how easy it is to shoplift in white neighborhoods. Easy peasy. Just go to the store. I watched the video and I was like, she was so proud that there were no security guards and nobody watching, that you just like were a shopper in there. She was shocked that you weren't being like tailed around because you're going to shoplift. She's like, I can't believe there's no security here. Oh, there's one camera up there, but whatever. It's just a camera. And walks out with a cart of groceries. You know, that disconnect also in society that, you know, we're places where there's not that much theft. We just don't care what you're doing because generally most people are in there minding their own business, doing their own thing. Now, again, that is a clear message for me that they're going, go up to the easy targets, soft targets. And what have we got? The Walmart greeter is going to be like this now. This is kind of where the world's moving to. This thing should not be taken lightly. High crime areas are boarding up their stores now and anti-looting devices, as we saw with the Dollar Tree. So I've done this in a video a little while back. The predicted targets, Walmart, Target, Kroger, Ralph's, Dollar General, Dollar Tree, Walgreens, etc. This is going to start to ramp up through the week. It's going to reach a certain point. Some stores are already doing this. They're limiting to 5 people at a time. And, you know, the last couple of videos I did on the EBT, I had several comments saying that Aldi is also doing the same thing. They're letting 5 people in at a time. And they also can control the door. So if anybody tries to run out with a cart, they actually put this magnetic lock on the door where it's can't open it. I mean, you have to break through the glass. Even they got, aluminum there. You could, but you can't do that real easy. So it's starting. Now, again, it depends on which neighborhood you're in is where you're going to see this. I drove around all Saturday looking for disturbances, and in East Tennessee, I found none, zero. Everything was functioning correctly. Nothing was really out of the ordinary. Like I was looking for out of the ordinary. But again, it's East Tennessee, and a ardent culture is a polite culture. And your stand your ground laws are quite different here too. Castle doctrine and all these things. You want to familiarize yourself with this moving forward too. Supermarkets starting to close. You're seeing it here. And I got my mailman a food gift card today. Awesome. People helping people. By the way, I went to a couple food banks on Friday also. And the main number one thing is they were telling me is just help your neighbors, help people, just donate food to your pantries, to your churches, to the food banks. And, if you can give something direct also. And the number one thing was peanut butter that they needed, peanut butter. Another news report said the number one thing they needed was canned vegetables. So there's your two, canned vegetables and peanut butter, but for sure, peanut butter, peanut butter, peanut butter. It's all ages, protein. Everybody can, not so much the kids loving the canned vegetables, but think about it in any way you can help with others. Here we are, Walmart, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. They're already stationing extra police out in front. Like they can only do that to a certain point. And then like all these other videos I'm watching off these feeds are saying, hey, we're going to all meet up at this one. Or like 50, 100 people, and they're going to run in. Like even with police there, you got 100 targets. Okay, there's 1 or 2 police officers. Your chances are pretty good of getting away. You got 98% chance of getting out of if there's 2 extra officers stationed there. I've seen a few videos of people running out with carts already, and they're getting a little kind of, spooked when people come running at them. Hey, you're thieves, you're thieves, you're thieves. And then they kind of leave the carts. But when it becomes more than one and there's 10 or 20 pushing out, that's not going to be the case. California, Barstow police stepping up patrols, LA regional food banks, and it goes on. And I was always wondering with the carbon score on a pack like this is Rayner's, this is over in the UK, but I'm just food for thought experiment here. Your carbon score is 8.1%. Now, what if the looters steal 30 of those sandwiches? They're going to go way over their carbon allotment for the day's consumption. They should be penalized. If you go over your carbon score on your looting sprees, you shall be penalized. You're only going to be able to take 1 cruise per year. They don't give a chuck. And by the way, these kind of images, bad idea. We handle EBT looters a little differently in the South. I get it. I understand it. But y'all don't be caught in these photos here, because whether it's this administration or the next one, they are coming for you. Like this is just a bad idea to get this type of, imagery on the public record. I'm just saying. Maybe you want to double think that. Like these idiots that are going out there stealing, teaching you how to steal, showing what they stole, and they're throwing all this stuff over TikTok and X. Like, hey, look how much stuff we stole. We got like 6 grocery carts full of lobster tails. Yeah. Again, just the mind frame of this. Like, why would you show yourself stealing and being on camera showing that you're stealing? And again, I get it. When this does kick off, or like looting after hurricanes, these signs do go up for true. There's always been the joke, hey, when these signs go up, maybe you want to call somebody, with an excavator, right? So that's no joke. Down anywhere there's hurricanes and natural disasters, that happens again and again. And get the looters come in. Generally, there's a blind eye turned to that situation. Now, will it stand here? Because I am telling you absolutely unequivocally, you are not allowed to use deadly force to defend property. And when I say property, I'm talking about a cart full of groceries, your chickens out in the front yard. You're going to go to jail if you do that. You please understand, stand your ground, because if somebody coming at you that could do great bodily harm or deadly force against you, you are at that point allowed to respond to that with that type of deadly force yourself. But somebody rousting up all your chickens out of your pen out there, like, 300 feet away from your house, that's not going to stand. You are absolutely going to have a serious problem at that point. And castle doctrine too. Where's your property line? Where does it actually start? Here in Tennessee, it starts at the property line. So you need to go about 1,000 feet down my driveway, and that's literally legally my property line. We're going to put boulders up on our gravel driveway. If you try to displace those boulders, I'm absolutely thinking you come up here to do bodily harm, because you're not removing boulders out of the way to give us a Christmas card up here. And you're going to travel all that distance up the driveway and come all the way to these 3 houses up in here, right? That you've actually removed the blockage out of the way that was sending a clear message, don't come up here. This is a restricted zone. If you're going to that level to remove boulders to drive up the driveway, yeah, that again, where does your law stand on that? What if they're coming in on your porch? They're trying to break into the house. What does your state law say about that? Will it go? I am still unsure. But one thing is for sure, this great reset is far from over. They need a few more giant steps forward to get to it. Banking collapse so they can do the bail-ins, and I encourage everybody to check out either the videos by David Rogers Webb of The Great Taking, or actually get the book and read it. Who else was I watching earlier today? Where is my notepad? Here we go. It's actually the back of a bill, which I pay myself for my own electricity. Carol Roth, You Will Own Nothing, is the author of that one there. A great financial crisis in a bank run will allow banks to bail in everything, and also any notes, mortgages, and this sort of thing that's held within the bank as a bundled product also gets bailed in. That would include your house. And then BlackRock on the back end wants to digitize everything and turn every single financial product into a digital representation of that, literally digitizing anything that's even worth 1 penny on the globe, because that 1 copper cent is actually worth 3 cents. They're down to that nitty gritty of trying to digitize 3 cents worth of copper. All right, so this is where it's going to. I really feel this somehow fits into that. I really do. It doesn't have to go completely where there's a famine, where all the food stops and all the stores are empty. You can let it go for another 7 to 10 days, and it'll be big enough, it'll have snowballed enough where national emergency could be declared. And at that point, all bets off, because all those executive orders that were written, like, those go into effect. Not even martial law. Those orders, those executive orders kick in prior to martial law. And I encourage you to read what's in those executive orders, because it's just as scary, if not scarier. So again, there's so many moving pieces and parts here. One thing, it's not going to get solved on Monday with the percentage differential in that, and they're recalculating, and they're still waiting to see how case law can even order that government to start dispersing funds. So there's going to be a back and forth for a little bit. So this is far from over. So I hope I can bring you the most up-to-date information here. And please remember, visit our sponsors. They're keeping this channel on air here: Victory Nutrition International, Protavite Plus, and also Alfa Vedic Dental Solutions, holistic dental care. Something to think about. Give to the holiday season here. Every purchase you make helps keep us on air. Bring the information just like this, because I got a few people helping me. And also, I was sent this out of almost every national park puts up this sign. Every conservation area and wildlife preserve puts up the same type of sign every time. Do not feed the animals. Never attempt to feed them. Natural diets should not be made dependent on handouts. Oh, play me your little fiddle of being offended. See you next time. Bye for now.